A lot of people have asked me, I'm Pat Donohue, registered massage therapist in Florida and retired in New York. And they asked me, what is so different about classical European Swedish massage? And I say it's the use of all the strokes and all the degrees. And I'm going to show you a particular massage using most all of them. I'm giving tournaments, how could I say, coach training for tournaments, because this is where you want to display everything you know. So I'm just going to complete this in an hour or thereabouts. So I start supine. I don't use oil on the face, and the reason being is usually the face is oily enough. I also go into different strokes, and since my client is here, I'm going to make sure that she's relaxed as I work. I'm into petrissage, pick up petrissage. Across the chin, right and left. Circular digital. And around the zygomatic, I want to do some drainage. And remember, on the face is a different type of tissue, so I'm not going to go deep. Forehead, cross fiber friction. A little tapping, temp ointment, a little pincement, slapping, chucking, and of course I always intermingle my effleurage for drainage. Drainage is down towards the body, not up towards the cranium. And now I'm going to do my dance. I cannot put my client's body in position unless I'm ready to move my body. So I really want to get away from sitting down. I'm into second degree petrissage, where I'm picking up the muscles off the bone. And notice as I turn the head, I'm turning my body, because I am not going to put her in a position where I feel uncomfortable. If I feel that she's uncomfortable, I'm going to stop. And I'm only going to be within the space that she allows her body to move. Another thing that I'd like to talk about is the support of the sacral. Sometimes clients can't lay flat. So get a towel, roll up the towel to the degree that they need support. Now I'm doing friction to the scalp, obviously because of the bones in the skull. Scalp massage. Start at the back and work up. Turn the head. And notice one hand is working while the other is supporting. And that's another reason why I don't use oil on the face. A lot of people don't want their hair messed up. A little joint movement. And again, this is joint movement, not range of motion. Inhale and exhale. Nice stretch. And relax. Inhale and exhale. And one more time. And exhale. Stretch on exhalation. Now I'm going to work tradition, I start on the right side of my client's body. Think of it this way. When you go to meet somebody, what do? You shake hands, right hand, right? So I'm shaking into her body. Effleurage, first stroke, right? This is what's called anointing. And the reason I call it anointing because I'm getting the area prepared for my fingers to do their job. Pick up the arm. Use gravity to help you with your massage. We do digital, first degree. Separating and warming the area. Deltoids, biceps. A little bit of joint movement, up and over. To work tricep muscle. And even though it looks like I'm going backwards, well, that's exactly what I'm doing. Working proximal to distal. Because if I want the blood out of her hand, I'm opening up the channel to basically let blood flow. Okay, this is your second degree. Put the arm back. And now I'm picking up the muscle and squeezing it. Now that I've warmed it up. Biceps and triceps. Biceps and triceps. Oops, sorry. And you can see it's a slow movement. And it's not this. It's picking the muscle up and squeezing it gently. You're feeding muscle into your other hand. Third degree, ringing. Picking the muscle up off the bone. This is a petrissage move. Now, if I wanted to go to cross fiber friction, the lifting up goes down into cross fiber. Looks the same, but it's different. And of course, effleurage. If I find there's restriction, I might decide to do longitudinal friction. Effleurage. Pivot the forearm. Alternate thumb. But even though I'm using my thumbs, notice my digits are working back here as well. For a massage therapist, remember your thumbs are gold. Don't give it away. Change my position so I can work all the flexors and extensors. Slide down and work backwards to a distal end. Turn her over. Slide down. And you might want to say to your client, how is the pressure? Is this okay? Perfect. The retinacula. This is connective tissue, so to massage it is really not that great. What I'll do is cross fiber friction. Make the wrist supple. Notice as I'm doing this, I'm getting all joint movement up the arm. Effleurage to do the handshake. Hold the fingers down, pull down the thumb, get that blood moving. And then I'm going to work on the palmar surface. And then notice as I go down each digit, I'm doing circular, digital, petrissage, somewhat friction. Then I'm going to slide down each finger and work my way back. One thing I want you to notice How many times did I go back and get a lubricant? After I did the annoying thing, I didn't. I have seen so many oil can junkies. Too much oil, how can I get into friction if I oil it up? And handshake again. You can work the dorsum of the hand as well. And this is very important, especially if you have diabetics or people with arthritis, that you get that blood and the joints moving. Handshake. And then I'm going to full arm effleurage. When you go out for a tournament, make sure your draping is accordingly. This is a very important facet, only because there's so much photography that goes on, and you don't want your client to be exposed, because they will take off major credit. Notice as I come into a stroke, I step into it. The power of my strokes comes from my legs, not from my upper body. First degree petrissage. Get those fingers working. All of them, all 10. So as I come around the deltoid, I have this part of my hand working, as well as the thumb. Joint movement. And if you notice, I have an extension of my table, so that when I'm finished, I can just rip this off and throw it in with my sheets. This product I'll be putting out on the market shortly. Got her down. And now I'm getting to second degree. I'm picking the muscle up off the bone. And I'm feeding it into my other hand. Also, I'm connecting with her pulsation of her heart, because I want to be in sync with her. Third degree is I'm picking the muscle up off the bone and twisting the muscle. This looks a lot like cross fiber friction, but when I get into friction, notice I go in. Petrissage is up and out, friction is down, and twist. What they call ringing. Always effleurage after friction. There's one stroke for stretching that you might want to use, and that is to slide down to the Miss Dorsey way and pull up. I can't get into it. And if you come to my classes, you'll have a better view of that, but not on the tape. That's still a secret. Longitudinal friction, the length of the muscle. I want to really heat that up. And effleurage. Going into the forearm, alternate thumb petrissage. And again, these fingers are working. Pivot so I can get to the flexors and extensors. Slide down to get to your next stop and work yourself up. Now I'm going to pivot again and work the other set of muscles. Slide down. When I went to massage school 59 years ago, we spent 1 month on the forearm. And the reason why was to build up our hands. The other thing to build up hands, magician exercises. Work those digits. Petrissage with a little bit of friction. Slide down each digit. Now, I know some of you have done things where you separate the palmar surface and you work that way. Well, you can do that if you wish, because I'm not here to change your style. I'm only here to make you better. Swedish handshake. Grab that thumb, the digits, and down. Press, pull, and send. Press, pull, and send. Now I'm going to step in and end with effleurage the same way I started, right? And if you want to get into a little jiggling, back and forth, depending on limitations that you have or your client has, you can get into the stretching and so on. But come to my class, you'll learn better. Put your arm underneath there. Okay? Swedish is noted for contact. Well, if you get your client in a hypnotic state through your massage, they don't even know your hand's left. Now here we come to draping. Bring this up underneath here. Massage in Swedish is generally done totally disrobed. But for tournament's sake, they make you keep your underwear on. Notice a V form. And the V form is because this way I can get into the medial and lateral for my effleurage. And I am not really getting into effleurage as much as I'm getting into my application or anointing with an oil or a lubricant, whatever you choose to use. Now I'm ready to start my massage. First thing I'm going to do is a little bit of stretching. And the reason that I'm doing a stretching here is because I want to make sure the bones are aligned properly, so that when I press down, I'm not going to get any bad feedback or pinching on my client's eyes. Look at their eyes sometimes, see if they're squinting. You know the pressure's not right, and you work accordingly. You don't have to have a conversation, just watch. Here I'm breaking the muscles into 3 areas. And don't be afraid to get into that gracilis. My hand is underneath, and I'm working this way. Lateral. The TFL is not going to move, but the surrounding muscles will. And go up to its insertion. First degree petrissage. Second degree, just like we did the arm. Pick up and hold. Pick up and hold. Pick up and hold. The combination is 3. And the reason I say 3, timing. I don't have to look at a clock anymore. I just know I'm done. And notice I'm constantly moving with each stroke. Come down into a horse's stance. And now I'm going to do pick up, petrissage. Pick the muscle up off the bone. Petrissage, 3rd degree. After that, you can do friction, and friction is down, ringing, down. And after friction, what do? Effleurage. Lean into it. Get it up to the main part of the body. Again, this is classical Swedish. Has to do with blood flow. Where's the heart? Not down at the feet, but it's up there. So that's where we go. Now here I'm going to bring the knee up. Flex the knee. Making sure that the private is covered. And I work the gastrocs this way. Here is mostly bone. It's very hard to work on bone. I'm going to do alternate the attachments of that muscle. If you find that your client can't keep her leg up, boot her foot so that she has more of more holding power. Better. Alternate thumb down the fibula bone. Now I'm going to bring my hands in thenar petrissage, first degree. Now I'm going to separate the heads of the gastrocs, pulling them towards me. But notice I'm not standing still going like this. I'm using my shoulders to lead, like if I was dancing. Oops. So I've done my petrissage, first, second, and third degree. What comes next? Friction. Now friction is done open-handed because there's two bones here, but I'm still applying pressure into the muscle. Effleurage. And I'm going to bring her foot down. If you have knee problems, I would say do the doorknob. The doorknob is a technique that I just go around. Around, is that a jerk?
I think I fell asleep for a second.
Okay, she fell asleep for a second. But anyway, you can add the doorknob if you want. If not, it's okay too. Bringing the draping out. And now I'm going into the foot. And again, I'm going to do effleurage, circular digital, first degree. Slide down each bone. You got it? And don't forget those little toesies. I'm doing a movement which I'm doing joint movement and petrissage. It doesn't look like much, but when you have neuropathy, major problem. You can go to sleep if you want. You don't have to do anything. Then I will do toe rolling. This is a friction. And I'm basically taking the toes between the muscle of the thenar, and I'm just rolling them. Support the dorsum as I work work the plantar. Support the plantar as I work the dorsal. I will do more work when she's prone on the foot for my excess to where I have to work. Finish off with effleurage. 3. And if you want to get fancy, you can do nerve stroking, which is superficial. Superficial nerve stroking is very good for lymphatics. And again, I do anointing first, get my area propped. There are some European massage therapists who will anoint the whole body first and then proceed to do their massage. They never go back to it. My husband, Joe Ferguson, used to do it that way. But that's why massage is art form, backed by scientific knowledge. I do it my way. And I'm sure you'll do it your way. So now I feel the area is ready for application of the strokes. So I'm going to lean into it, but first, before I do that, what do I have to do? Straighten out the bones of the leg. A little traction, a little vibration, and now I go into my strokes. Alternate thumb petrissage, first degree. Going into the gracilis. Also, massage, everyone thinks you go so slow, the relaxation. You go according to what the client needs. Again, you register with that heartbeat, her breathing. Second degree is pick up. Pick up and squeeze, pick up and squeeze. Just like you're kneading bread. Slide up. I'm in a horse's stance right now. Otherwise you might see an archer stance. If I had music on, then you wouldn't be able to hear me talk, which might have been a blessing. But then I slide up. But depending on the music that you pick up, usually the client will tell you if they don't want any music, if they have, let's say, a headache, especially those who suffer from migraines, they just want quiet. They may want blinders on their eyes, pads, whatever. This is pick up petrissage. I'm picking the muscle up off the bone. Tabletop to tabletop. And now friction as I go in. I know they look the same, but they feel entirely different. Friction is down. Cross fiber friction. After friction, we do effleurage. The V, so I can collect as much blood as I can, and up. I know a lot of therapists use knuckling. I don't use knuckling that much because it aggravates my joints. Notice my hands. Almost 60 years. I don't have any penises or finger nonsense that I see a lot of therapists have. I can do the corkscrew around the knee. And that's just going from side to side. If I find there's a problem, well, I might work more up into I'm not going into that, only because I don't want to do medical. I'm going to bring the knee up as I do the draping. And bolster that foot. And the reason I went back for a little lubrication is because I didn't do the posterior. Alternate to the manger bones in the foreleg. And she's tired. Oh, she's tired. We'll fix that up later. Second degree, thenar. And notice as I'm working my way down, I'm still pumping towards the heart. And now I'm going to do a friction. Well, here I'm going to separate, the heads of the gastrocs, picking it up, third degree petrissage. cross fiber. And again, 2 bones are there, so I'm going to have this open-handed, but I'm physically going into the tissue. And she's very relaxed, as you see. Normally, I don't use a fitted sheet. Then I can really bolster well. I know a lot of therapists sit on it. I don't want to get my clothes dirty. Because I'm going to see my next client. Do they want a dirty uniform that somebody else's dead scales are on? I don't think so. Here I'm going to go into my petrissage movement. I might do effleurage to the dorsal and to the plantar. And then I'm going to go into petrissage down each bone in the foot. Now I'm in an archer stance. And the reason I'm in an archer stance is because I have the ability to move up that leg. If I stand in this position, I'm not going to be able to move. So I want to be able to move around my client. Do each toe. It doesn't really matter whether you start with the little one or you start with the big one. It's up to you. And you get that movement in there. And roll those toes. Support the dorsum as I work the plantar. Support the plantar as I work the dorsum of the foot. And like I said, I will do more work when she turns over, because it's easier for me to work. I have to admit, black on black is not my idea of working, because I can't differentiate the sheets. So you might want to take that as advice. I like 2 colored sheets. Okay, now you can do that superficial. Remember we talked about that? This is parasympathetic. Because that goose flex, which is good for lymphatics. Now here we get into a situation where we have the chest exposed. Well, there's products on the market now that you can have wraps. And this is what we have here, a wrap. When we work on the abdominal area, okay, it's important to remember the abdominal muscle, once the legs are down, what happens? You can't get into the intestines. I want to get into the core of the body. So in order to do that, I got to lift those legs. So I am going to ask my client, wake her up, to basically keep her knees up, because I don't have the proper bolstering there. Oh, lotus flower. Lotus flower. Now here, I call this the football effleurage. And the reason I say that is because it's in a football section where the right hand never leaves the body as the left is the traveler. So as I go back to the erectors, I lift the adrenal. I turn and I twist. Go back, lift, turn and twist. One more time, lift. First degree petrissage, circular digital. I might want to put my hand up on her shoulder, and the reason being that she knows where my hands are. I know where they are, but she might not. And I follow, again, Menel's theory, emptying the distal before we go into proximal. Oh, there's your lunch. And again, if you don't move with it, they're going to feel like you're poking their belly. And you really don't want to do that. So now that's the first degree. Now the second, I'm going to knead it with the thenar, and I'm going to have to move my body well. As I come around, slide forward. Massage is easy. It's 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to do a pickup. Pick up on the serratus and pick those muscles up. The muscles I'm picking up, the gut or the obliques, the abdominal area. And here I'm going to step back, unless you want to walk around the table, but I don't want to walk around the table. And I'm going to lift here. Now the other one would be, I can't do really third degree friction or anything, but what I can use in my other strokes, vibration. Vibration is tremulous, tremulous, tremulous. And what that does is, as you go into the intestines, it creates advancement to the peristaltic movement. So I want to go 1, 2, 3, vibrate. This is a tremulous move in vibration. I come around the corner and down, the descending. And the longer you work on the belly, the deeper you can go. And always follow up with your effleurage. And here I'm going to go back now. I'm going to do small intestines. I'm going to pick up the muscles or pick up the abdominal area, and I'm going to vibrate in, down, down. Another move you can use for fluctuation, they have gas, cupping. And let's face it, it's a natural body product. If they have to let go, let them go. Now I'm just going to do a little bit more. I'm going to see if I can move her lunch down to her extubation. And then I'm going to leave the same way I started. Address the adrenals. And when you do this, you really should concentrate on your breath instead of talking. I do give separate classes on chest and breast massage, but I'm not going to put that out on the video because they don't ask for that in challenging competition. I'm going to guide her legs down. Pull out any bolstering that you may have. Make sure the sheets are free and clear. Okay, my dear, I'm going to pull this back down. And I'm going to have you turn away from me. I'm not going to go further than they need to go. And now I'm going to go into second degree, which is pick up and hold. You must really be relaxed. Center. And then more lateral. Some of you might want to walk around to the table and pull it towards you, whatever floats your boat. Like I'm here, I'm not here to reorganize your massage, I'm only to make you better. Here we go into your pick-up pet dressage. Eventually, someday, all us massage therapists will have the same language. So that whether you're in Jersey or in Nut Tonawanda, I can say to you, do this, do that to this muscle, do the first, second degree, do cross fiber ringing, and you'll get an idea of what I'm talking about. Okay, now if I want to do friction to the upper leg, we go down into the leg. And again, I will repeat this again. Massage is art form backed by scientific knowledge. So as long as you know what you're doing and why you're doing it for it, that's what's important. Popliteal softly, no deep work. Like I said, you can work with it this way. Just let your hands slide down. And while you're doing that, you're getting joint movement. I've seen so many people do this rotation. Just remember, the knee is a hinge joint. Hinges go back and forth. We don't do circular motion. The circular motion takes place in the hip. So just remember that, because as a person gets older, they get knee problems. So if you take that knee and make a circular motion, you're going to aggravate the meniscus. I know that for a fact. Here I'm just going to work the glutes a little, the gastrocs a little bit more. Now she has a little ecchymosis here, a little bruise. I'm just going to work around it. If I do effleurage, that's okay, but I'm not going to go in deep to that area. She has a little restriction here. So, with restriction, I'm going to do friction. And it's hard to do friction with this anklet on, but I'll do my best. Not getting into therapeutic massage, I'm just doing mild relaxation. But if I had this client coming into me, I would focus more on that area. And again, as we work the plantar, notice I support the dorsum of the foot. Alternate thumb. Work the plantar aspect. Work the toes. Bone stimulation, pounding to the heel. You can see it, the whole shaft of that leg is affected. Back slapping. Stimulate circulation in the feet. If you have a child and you give them a slap, they notice you right away. Well, same thing with blood. Give them a slap and they'll be there. And again, I'm going to do effleurage. I showed you before how you do a lot of joint movement to the ankle. You can do stretching. I'm not going to get into stretching. You're going to do it your way. And besides which, that's at the workshop. People ask me to see what's so different. Well, the fact is that I know what strokes I'm doing and why I'm doing it for it. Now the back. Usually the back, if you check your time, I probably have about 15 to 20 minutes left to do the back. Am I right?
Like we're at about 44 minutes right now for this one.
Right. So here I'm going to make sure. Now again, they have underwear on in the championship, so I'm going to pretend they have underwear on. And here, because of the nature of the back, it's so big, and if you get a person like me that's very dry, you're going to have to go back for more lubricant. Don't forget, whatever medium you try, whether it's oil, cream, powder, or whatever, make sure that you master it. Notice I'm starting at the side I've saved myself stepping around and so on. Every place that I go to, I've saved myself steps. Why? Because it'll be exhausting if I keep on doing this 8 to 10 times a day. So here I'm going to start at the neck. And I'm going to do motion that's normal to a body. You pull things into you. You don't push things away. I will do that when I want to stretch my back, and I will show you that. So here, we're starting with effleurage. I did that. Now my effleurage strokes, let me go over it again, is what they call the B stroke. I pull down to the waist, lean in, and lift the glutes. Go back up, the erectors, pull down, and I cover the whole area. Bring it up, lean down in, and up. But however you want to work the back, you work the back. Step up to the place that I'm going to work. And I'm going to start with first degree petrissage, my digits. And she's got to be loosened up a little bit more. And notice I haven't really used knuckles, except where I have hard masses. Feet. Going up the spine, I'll do an alternate on either side as I walk back up to my starting point. And one last time to make it 3. And notice, as I'm working, I'm giving body movement. I'm not just doing it flat. I get that body moving, because indirectly the body will be loosening up. Now I'm going to go into second degree, which is pick up and hold of the petrissage. Are you doing okay?
Mm-hmm.
There are a couple of moves that I would do on the leg, which is coarse vibration. But if you come to my class, I'll show you how to do it. I gotta leave you wanting to come. And again, you can walk around the other side of the table and do the pick up and hold, but I choose not to. I just drop my gravity lower. And if you find your time is running out, do the stroke twice, because you want to be on time with the tournament. And for those of you who sit down to do massage, get up. I'm 79 and I can move around a table. There's no reason why you young people can't be moving. Now I'm going to do cross fiber friction to the erectors and at the waist. Up and down the erectors. That's to loosen the attachments, and then I'm going to dive and I'm going to stretch. I'm going to dive and stretch. Now you might want to get a little fancy and put a little bit of joint movement in there. Adjust my draping. I guess this is why they make you wear underpants. Now, you got it? Thank you. Okay, so we did that. And then, hand over hand, I'm tired. So I'm going to resort to just circular palmar petrissage to the areas where I feel, especially the shoulders and through the breathing area, which is basically between the shoulders, the rhomboids. That's all breathing, people. And if I want to get into crossbody ringing, I can do that as well. Up and over, up and over. Come to my workshop and I'll show you more. The other thing, remember I told you about working away? I want to stretch my back. I'm coming into the home stretch, right? So now I'm going to bring it down. Quadratus Cymborum. I'm going to plant my hands here and just stretch. But in doing that, I'm relaxing my back and stretching and stretching. Come right over the sacrum. And I know that the sacrum doesn't move, but yet I'll place my hands on the sacrum and I'll move my body. I find this is a great move. Just pressure down, move my body, and I get like a circular motion. So all those attachments to the gastrocs, not the gastrocs, the glutes are affected. And then again, if she was my client at home, I'd be working the glutes, but because it's closed at a tournament, I wouldn't be doing that. The only thing I would be doing is a friction to the sacrum. The sacrum is where all of these spinal nerves come out of the brain, and that she would feel all the way down her legs. Did you feel it? Mm-hmm. And it's very warming and soothing. And then I would do it again. Slight rotation. And again, plant my hands, and then I move my body. And I'm not going to go into all the variations that people do on the back, because you should know that you're all experienced therapists. But I am going to give my back one more stretch. And again, I come to the side of the table because his headrest is in the way. So I can get that full stretch. And then I'm going to go back to my B, pulling everything down from the neck, around, lean in, and lift, up, lean, come back, gather, press in, lift, and so on. Okay, now you may want to do some body rocking. For seniors, this is very comforting. And I guess when you were a baby, you wanted to be rocked. Well, guess what this is? As seniors, we all like that little extra. And to finish it off, you may want to just, energy people, bring it down and out, down and out, if you don't rip the sheet off. Okay, now, the problem is getting a person off the table. That is the challenge. First, take all of your bolsters out, which we did, and then what you want to do is take the sheet the longest way, so the width-wise is to them. Okay, you got the width. Black on black is not the way to go. Okay, then I'm going to ask you to roll to your side, my side, over here. No, roll the other way, I'm sorry. Hold that in front of you. Okay, and we're going to bring up your hand. Okay. Get them up, set them up. Then you might want to say, put their shoes on, whatever. You also might want to see if they're a little groggy. If they're a little groggy, make sure you work on them up here a little bit. This is blood pressure, up in the traps. How do you feel?
So relaxed.
Okay?
So relaxed.
Huh?
Very relaxed.
Okay. And that's it. So if you can help your client put their shoes on, that's part of the culture of Swedish massage. Okie doke. Hope to see you at my workshop and we can go into this more. But this is just a little adaptation. Like I said, I called off the strokes, did what I did. Hope you liked it.
I did.